But just for the amazing ladies who are nominated in this
Yeah,
category, John, do you have any preference of who you think might win?
with Annette Bening. It's kind of no surprise that they chose these two ladies, Jodie Foster and Annette Bening, to play these parts. The strong, empowered women that they are themselves in their own lives, have been throughout their lives. They're leaders in their careers. And so to play the part of a person who was eccentrically motivated to keep going when she very obviously should not have, but she did anyways. I mean, Annette Bening, of course, absolutely.
Welcome to Cool Life Podcast, brought to you by therealthingdating.com. www.therealthingdating.com.
Polydor Records for out scouting. This girl grabbed my bangs and ran my head right into the speaker.
Oh,
And everyone cheered like this, yeah.
When we shot the scene in Good Will Hunting, I didn't know who most of these people were at the time. I mean, they weren't stars. It was Gus Van Sant that directed it. Gus Van Sant was on the floor with Matt Damon's character. I didn't even know who Matt Damon was at that time.
I'm Eva John. I'm a former candidate for local government. I was a children's television entertainer, and I love this world. And I believe we should take care of each other and have a lot of fun along the way. Welcome to Cool Life. Here we go.
And welcome to the Cool Life Podcast 2024 pre-Oscar show with our guest, Jon Stewart, Canadian recording artist, singer-songwriter, and performer. Welcome, Jon.
Thank you, Eva.
I'm glad to have this very special show, our edition of the pre-Oscar look at all of the nominees that we care about, not necessarily
Yeah,
all of the nominees. And just
yeah.
to have a little fun, I've put on my penguin suit for the
Exactly. Lovely
occasion.
suit, by the way.
Thank you. And it is actually a penguin suit
It
with
is.
an
I
E
see that.
and all the rest of it. But
That's adorable.
you know what? I just thought, since most people do dress for the Oscars, and
Yeah, you do.
I'm not that I love fashion, I kind of don't, but I also enjoy fashion. And so,
Absolutely.
as you can see.
Yeah.
So in this case, we're just going to look at some of the nominees that might be of interest to us. And
Sure.
we can start with a look at the nominees for Best Actress. Now, we have Annette Bening
Mhm.
for Naiad, and we also have, and frankly, I hope she wins, but we'll circle back to
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
We also have Lily Gladstone for Killers of the Flower Moon.
Those are the
That would
Flower
be,
Moon. Wow. Like,
and
that
that
was
would
a
be really,
3-hour movie. Three and a half hours, I think. It's three and a half hours.
but I think it deserves every minute. And
Absolutely, it does. Yes.
I think
Absolutely.
look, if we come back to Lily Gladstone and I think all that she's contributing, and there's a huge weight on her shoulders as a First
Absolutely.
Nations performer,
Yep.
and having never seen a First Nations performer win the Academy Awards in the United States of America,
Yep.
uh,
Exactly.
a place that the predominant culture is overtaken the First Nation culture
Yeah.
in so many different ways, and did not, for centuries did not honor or
No.
respect the original culture of the land. And here's an opportunity, I feel, maybe not to balance the scales, but to bring a more honest reflection of the people of that land. And wouldn't it be nice, right? Now,
Absolutely. Yes.
also, again, we may want to circle back to the importance of the nomination for
Mhm.
Lily Gladstone. Definitely important, and a burden maybe even for her as a performer to say that she's bringing so much more to the table just because she's representing
I'm sure it is. Exactly. Yeah.
so much she's representing. Now, Sandra Huller is nominated also for Best Actress, and that's for Anatomy of the Fall.
Right,
And
not beautiful.
I'd like to say it's a good, solid, decent performance, and
Mhm.
for that type of court drama, crime drama.
Yeah,
I'm not particularly interested, compared to some of the other nominees. Not to say it's not a worthy performance, but
hmm
again, just looking at who's nominated and saying, yeah, okay, I can understand why she was nominated. And then we have Carey Mulligan nominated for Maestro.
yeah, Maestro.
And I'm expecting kind of a Maestro sweep. I don't know,
Yeah, yeah, I think so. I think so.
but playing such an important role too
Yeah,
in the life of Leonard Bernstein as the wife of ...
exactly.
And then we have Emma Stone for Poor Things. I find her performance a little questionable, and we'll circle
Well,
back to that.
yeah, yeah.
But just for the amazing ladies who are nominated in this
Yeah,
category, John, do you have any preference of who you think might win?
net betting. It's really interesting. It's kind of no surprise that they chose these two ladies, Jodie Foster and Annette Bening, to play these parts, being the strong, empowered women that they are themselves in their own lives, have been throughout their lives. They're leaders in their careers. And so to choose those two to play the parts of a person who was eccentrically motivated to keep going when she was very obviously should not have, but she did anyways. I mean, Annette Bening, of course, absolutely. The interesting thing is that Naiad here, I've compared it in my brain to the Terry Fox story. It's very similar in a lot of
Right?
ways. Yeah, it's so much that like it's there's two people here. One person's getting recognition, the other one is doing all the legwork to make sure it all happens. It's almost carbon copy, like in a certain way, in certain senses. Um, and the drive to go forward and to never stop, and you know and they're both based on true stories. That's the best part, you know. But it does remind me of that, though. It reminds me a lot of it. Annette Bening not seeing what's behind her, was and watching Terry Fox story even years ago, the very first one they came out with in the 80s,
Right.
as also the one they came out with recently. In both movies, they really, really show how much Terry Fox was aggravated 90% of the time. He was so aggravated he wasn't seeing how the people around him were suffering because of what he was doing to us. Sounds weird to say it like that, but he wasn't seeing it, right? And he was getting agitated a lot. And there's a lot of points in this movie that is very identical to someone who is that empowered to do something, that even though they recognize in the back of their head that these people are there to help them, but they're not really seeing it, maybe till after the fact.
Mm.
Both those movies do that. That's
It's very interesting.
Jodie Foster being the
She brings a
pushing.
lot to the table. I mean, she's also
She does.
nominated and is basically Hollywood royalty, having worked so hard as a child. I mean,
Oh, this
we
is what I mean. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
but
yeah.
for Annette Bening in this category of Best Actress, I'd say she has a very, very interesting and beautiful trail in her career in Hollywood. She's actually the figure that is the statue holding the light for the logo of Columbia Pictures. So
That's
when
crazy.
at the start of every Columbia Pictures movie,
That's her.
yeah, that's her. I think it was about 20 odd years ago that
That's amazing.
they took whoever the former actress was, or the generic model, and they had her, they had Annette Bening standing in a room for like 3 days while 3D photography was a different thing back then. And
That's
then
amazing. Not too many people can say that they are bronzed in.
she is the ones at the start of every movie when the kind of like comes up on that figure
Yeah,
at Columbia Pictures. That's Annette Bening.
that's
And She's also married to Hollywood royalty, to Warren Beatty,
That's
who,
right. Yeah.
in his time, he was like the biggest Hollywood playboy,
Yes.
huge heartthrob.
Yeah.
They couldn't think of how would they make a movie without him. Huge
Exactly.
box office draw. And he's also the brother of Hollywood royalty, Shirley MacLaine.
That's right.
And
Exactly.
my father, of course, was in love with Shirley MacLaine and would announce from time to time when I was a child that not that he was planning to leave, but if ever he did, he would leave for Shirley MacLaine. So we were all forewarned, every single one of us. But Shirley MacLaine herself, I mean, she had started dancing at the age of 3.
Yeah.
She had done some modeling and other types of I think even news programming, and
Mhm.
toured all over the world. A solid performer. She has won an Oscar for, what was that? She played the mom of a young woman who was stricken with cancer, and going from a controlling person to giving way to the fact that love has to win.
I think I've seen that.
So that film is Terms of Endearment. That's how.
That's it.
Yeah. So she won an Oscar, and so it's not that the that the Oscar train stops there. I
Yeah.
think Annette Bening is really very much worthy. Her performance is very much worthy. I think Hollywood owes her a bit for some of her fantastic work up until now. And sometimes Oscar does that. Oscar sometimes gives
Yeah.
that award, not just for today's film, but for everything else that performer has brought to the table.
That's a good way of putting that, Eva. Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
It would be nice to see. And it would be nice to see just because I think a lot of the entertainment pundits, they've got
Yeah.
their idea of who should win and who they're used to, pandering to, perhaps.
Oh, of
And
course.
she hasn't been a part of the Hollywood machinery in recent years, and she has focused on her life with Warren Beatty and their 4 children, and
Exactly.
just being a fulfilled human being, which is rare and difficult for any of us. And so I'm
Yeah.
glad that as a full and whole and a happy human being, she's come back to the industry to give, an amazing performance. And I hope she wins.
Absolutely.
I hope she wins. And that's that.
Yes, exactly.
I don't know if she'll win, but I hope she wins.
I
She's
do
got my
hope she
vote.
wins too. I mean, she's a bit of a personal favorite, so I do hope she wins.
Now,
Yeah.
I mean, if we jump back to Emma Stone,
Yeah.
and I don't think she should win. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, Emma. Emma Stone has, I know the Hollywood machine decided that she was going to be their it girl for quite a while, and
Yeah.
they've given her every opportunity and every amazing, great role to ensure her future financially and to lay an excellent foundation for better and better work, for the rest of her life. I
Yeah.
just feel the quirkiness of Poor Things I found a little derivative. I'm
You're
sorry.
right. So yeah, exactly. So like I did read, I think I can't remember who it was, but anyways, I did read that they thought it was a little over the top. A little over the top. It was too much for the storyline.
Well,
That was
what
my
they
personal
brought, I think, because it's quirky,
Yeah.
that maybe the director just said, just go nuts, because there's no wrong way to do this. But there is,
No, there
because there's
is.
some things we've all seen that
Yeah.
anytime somebody wants to do the crazy kind of a weird, I can't control my body kind of a walk, and they tilt backwards, and
Oh,
the
the
opposite,
train
and they
crash.
tilt forward,
Yeah,
and then
that's
they
right.
do this. And we've seen it 100,000 times in
Yes.
cartoons, in music videos, and then
Oh, yeah.
she's doing it too. And it's like,
Yes.
dude, come up with something new, practice in the swimming pool. Give us something else, something
Yeah,
that,
I think it was Lionel Richie in the We Are the World uh, documentary said that we're heading for a train crash right now. And they're referring to all the artists start making their own decisions when there was a target they had, and they went to go off. All of a sudden, the train wreck is put to and that's exactly the same kind of thing. I think that you're talking about. There is like You know, there's got to be to just let someone go and be free to do whatever. I guess in some parts is useful, obviously, but there has to be some kind of control to say, hey, wait a second, what is the target? What are we actually doing here?
Right. I think the performance lacks some substance. The storyline is kind of cool, and maybe I'd love to see someone explore that further
Yeah,
in another movie or a remake of this one. Sorry, but the idea of having a purely innocent mind that
yeah,
is incapable of adding prejudices to any new relationships, to
right.
seeing anybody on earth as exactly equal. Wouldn't it be nice if we could all do that?
Yeah,
Uh,
exactly.
and not start any relationship with judgments,
Yeah,
and to just take you as a person you
yeah,
present right now today.
yeah,
That's beautiful. And that's what we're supposed to be able to experience through this character being
yeah,
a somehow a restarted life form, a revamped human being with an innocent mind. Love
yeah,
the idea. I just feel that because there's supposed to be a quirkiness to it,
yeah,
the timing, the pace, the use of language and physicality have all been seen before. And I think for someone of substance with a background like Emma Stone, with all the other performances that are in this film, I think we should have seen something of more depth.
more depth there. Yeah,
Now, I think that, the world would be a better place if Lily Gladstone won the Oscar
yeah,
for Killers of the Flower
yeah.
Moon. That would, I think, satisfy
I
so many
agree.
different hearts, and
It would.
artistically.
Yeah, I agree completely.
But we'll have to see what happens on the day. Um,
Yeah.
Annette Bening still has my vote.
Oh, me too. Oh, absolutely, yes.
Now, for Best Actor, we have Bradley Cooper
Mm-hmm.
for his role as Leonard Bernstein in Maestro, and we also have Coleman Domingo for
Coleman
Rust,
Domingo. Yeah. Wow.
and we also have a nomination for Paul Giamatti. There's a solid actor, if only for his background. Then that's for Holdovers. I I mean, we can come back talk about Holdovers in more
Mhm.
depth, but it's a charming, beautiful, fun kind of bonding film, coming of age film,
Yeah.
and it's I think a fun and fresh take to a very tried and true concept. That's what happens when you get really solid, good performers together, with good writing and good directing. They've
Yeah.
done nothing wrong. Yes, I hope he wins, but I also kind of hope he doesn't, so
Yeah.
that we can see some other upheaval in the category.
Exactly. Yeah. There's a couple names that come to mind.
Cillian Murphy has also been nominated for Oppenheimer.
Oppenheimer. Yeah. That's what a crazy role.
And you know what? I can say I hope he wins, if only for his whole body of work. More to be said on that. In this category also,
Matt Damon was started with him in that, and Matt Damon's character, oddly, like it almost appeared to me that he had put on tremendous amount of weight just to do this role. It was just like it was shocking me at first. I'm looking at that. That's Matt Damon. Right? I'm looking at, and like, wow. Though, but like, he, you know, he's one of those actors when he pours himself into it, pours himself into the shoes, and that's what you get. You ask for it, you get that.
well, Matt Damon, he's definitely had a halo over him from the time he entered the entertainment industry.
Sure
Uh,
has. Yeah.
I think for the rest of his life is going to have a lot to bring to the table. I don't know how I feel anymore about people distorting themselves physically for a role like that,
I
because
know.
you know, you can do some permanent damage down the road. It's been done over and over again.
Exactly,
Raging
exactly.
Bull.
Well, even right back to the Wizard of Oz, you know, like the stories of the characters having to wear that makeup for hours and hours, and it was lethal. It
Yeah.
was very dangerous.
Well, the
Just
first Tin Man was taken off the film
yeah,
because the
it's
silver paint was blocking his pores and made him ill, right?
yeah, just like holy smokes, like where we draw the line.
Yeah, and even though, like the Wicked Witch, she caught fire. They
Yeah,
had to stop filming
crazy,
for like 2 months until she recovered.
crazy.
And that was just, you know, an onset safety hazard. Uh,
Yeah.
you know, and thank goodness for unions. It's another reason to believe in unions. To
Well, exactly. Yeah, and this was like a this is, you know, way, way back in in our parents' days. So you can imagine that the time has passed is what I'm saying is, you know, like have we really learned from that as a songwriter? I mean, I do some ridiculous things in order to get stuff done that I want to get done.
Mhm.
Uh, everyone's guilty of that in their own profession. That's normal. But to have someone like Brendan Fraser uh, in Whale, like just and you know like what it must take physically to do a job like that and then have to recover from it.
Yes. I mean, he did have some help. You know, some of it was, you know, just the magic of Hollywood, but
Magic
yes,
Hollywood, yes, yeah,
some of it wasn't. And you know, really, like I said, I personally feel that, you know, once they say cut and it's a wrap and everyone goes home and after the party, it's like have you left yourself in a condition that, you know, has weakened your kidneys and your liver in ways
absolutely,
that, you know, may not be worth that toll. Not the point of success that many of these performers have come to. There are times some people you'd say in a desperate move would do anything to make sure that they could have a stable career in the future.
mhm,
But, and I still don't recommend it, but to put your health at risk in the future, I think in life, you just can't buy those extra years, minutes of your life.
no,
And
no,
I don't think
God,
it's worth risking
yeah,
personally. So other nominees, Jeffrey Wright for American Fiction.
American Fiction,
And I also hope he wins. What do you want me to say?
absolutely,
I hope he wins because, you know, it's nice, quirky film. Again, everything about it solid performance and, you know, a lot of the tongue in cheek on top of the tongue in cheek on top of the tongue in cheek. So, you know, it
exactly,
is a social commentary of a satire that has been taken seriously
yes,
wrongly from writing critics. And
exactly,
how do you
yeah,
deal with the success that comes from someone misconstruing the whole purpose of the body of that work? Um,
exactly,
and what does that mean when it gets a nod from Oscar? And I mean, let's face it, there's so much controversy over like the pre-pandemic Oscars so white hashtag that was going.
absolutely, yeah,
And, you know, it wasn't incorrect, but I feel that there's so many cultures that make the amazing mix of what America is, because it's an
yeah,
American institution, the Academy Awards,
exactly,
and the inability to recognize their own true atmosphere. You step
yeah,
outside of any
exactly,
of those movie theaters, who's buying those tickets? Who
exactly.
is it? There's no reflection of their own audience. And so seeing the exciting things like First Nations, people being recognized, and for a while seeing Asian performers recognized, but the gap in times in between recognition nomination for Asian performers will say, oh, there's been a huge, fabulous, wonderful film. And then you end up waiting another 15, 18 years for another fabulous film. And it's like,
Exactly.
is it just going to be individual projects that can only encompass great Asian performances? Why cannot that be within the context of any other film, right?
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
And is it correct and right to say, okay, we need to balance the scales by having some wins now by performers of different cultures, First Nations, Asian, Black performers. And
Exactly.
I don't feel it's so much appropriate that we should simply balance the scales. If you've earned the votes, you win.
Exactly.
But
Exactly. Yeah.
if your material isn't there to be considered, then how can you win, right?
And that's wrong. That's a huge problem. Yeah, exactly.
So it's like, I feel that, in this category for the men, and, as a woman, knowing that in the entertainment industry,
Yeah.
and dominate anyway, they get so much more attention. It's nice that, women are nominated and men are nominated.
Exactly.
But I think the big picture is the overall effect on a man's career and
Yeah.
career after winning an Oscar. I think it's still much more beneficial for a man, no matter what their cultural background.
No, for sure. True.
And in this case, I get the feeling Bradley Cooper's going to win it, right?
I think Brad Cooper is going to win. However, it would be interesting that Jeffrey Wright win this at this time, given the especially the whole point of that movie and the direction where it could lead following years from now if it does, right? And as stepping stones, right? And this is that would be a huge stepping stone in certain ways.
It would be a huge stepping stone. I mean, the very first time a person of color won an Oscar was in 1940. In 1940, Hattie McDaniel won the Oscar for Gone with the Wind, and she was not invited to attend the Oscars. And it is heartbreaking to know that. And
Brutal.
it was actually Clark Gable who said that he would not attend the Oscars if Hattie McDaniel was not invited to attend the Oscars.
It's not
So
invited.
he put his foot down, and I think some other actors, but he was the big name, also
Wow.
from Gone with the Wind, who said it was not right to have the Oscars and have a
And not
nominee
invite her.
not attend. So
That's brutal. Wow. Right?
it's heartbreaking. But Hattie McDaniel was eventually invited to attend, but their rule was she had to sit at the back.
It's disgusting.
It is, but
It's
she
disgusting.
won. So the beauty of it is right from the back, she got to
Yeah.
walk the whole length of.
That's me. Yeah, that is as the I see the synopsis there. That's brilliant.
Watch me as I go.
Watch me as
Take a good long look at my
exactly. I'm gonna take my time.
So I'm glad she won.
That's great.
She earned it,
Yeah.
and in spite of all the resistance, she earned her Oscar. And it was a huge gap of time from her Oscar until Whoopi Goldberg's Oscar.
Wow.
1989 was it for Whoopi Goldberg for Ghost?
For Ghost, that's great.
Best Supporting, and then Halle Berry. It was 1991 for
Catwoman.
No, she didn't
what was
win for
it?
Catwoman.
Oh.
No, but she won. But it was for Monsters Ball. Okay. Yeah.
Monsters Ball, right? Monsters Ball.
Yeah. So yeah, 1991 was Monsters Ball, which was a sad, broken, ugly story, and hell of a performance, and she won. So it's a big, long gap in time.
That
And
is
it's like,
yeah.
is Oscar only going to give like these important awards to Black women? It's like, yes, okay, then yeah, Denzel Washington, who I kind of met at a Hollywood party many years ago in my youth, and he was being sworn by the press, but all due respect to his family, I'm certain he was trying to make his way over to my table.
Yeah. Very chiseled looking fellow. He is.
Yeah, an amazing performer, and
He's incredible.
as this happy little Canadian girl attending a birthday party at Paramount Studios way back when, and being able to breathe that rarefied air of some great performers in that room. I'm not going to name drop it this time, but it was really special, and what he has brought as an Oscar-winning performer is just phenomenal.
That's awesome.
Halle Berry, we almost had the same manager out in New York City.
Really? Oh, very nice.
But we didn't. But I'm glad, Halle, you take it because she has not wasted her time, right? She's made some
Definitely not.
inroads. I don't care what anyone says about Catwoman, right?
Yeah.
And I'm glad she made the film. And I know it's heavily criticized, but Oscars
Very,
can
very hot Catwoman.
very, very hot, but she's a great performer, and she has, I think, a lot to bring to the industry and a lot more in the future. But I know that she herself feels that her Oscar was almost a waste, in that she thought there would be more to come after her, and it just took so long. So, but again, I feel that each nomination, each year of the Oscars, I just don't feel it should be used as a balancing of scales. I feel that it's the material has to be there.
I agree. That's a yes. So the material should be celebrated, regardless.
Right. And once that material is more and more inclusive, then it's not about balancing scales. It's just about great performances from all cultures, reflecting, again, the Oscars are an American feature. So
exactly.
How about Dear America? Please recognize your own cultures.
Exactly. Exactly. That would be perfect.
And so with that, I think we're going to take a little break.
All right.
And we're going to talk about our sponsors and supporters. And we'll be back with more pre-Oscar talk with Jon Stewart here on Cool Life Podcast. Those lonely days of lockdowns and isolation are gone for good. Go to www.therealthingdating.com. That's www.therealthingdating.com. It's time to share. Share your time, share your life, share your love. www.therealthingdating.com. Join for free. Upgrade at any time, starting at just $5.99 a month. www.therealthingdating.com. Because it's time. You're listening to the Cool Life Podcast. We'll be back in 3, 2, 1. And we are back on Cool Life Podcast with our 2024 pre-Oscar show with Jon Stewart. And Jon, for the next discussion on the Oscars, I'd like to take a look at the Best Picture category.
Okay, well, the Best Picture category is as follows: American Fiction, Anatomy of a Fall, Barbie, The Holdovers, Killers of the Flower Moon, Maestro, Oppenheimer, Past Lives, Poor Things, and The Zone of Interest. That's
pretty good bunch of movies there. Do you have a preference for a win?
Preference for win? Killers of the Flower Moon.
Mm-hmm.
I think Killers of the Flower Moon. It's interesting. Like I made a kind of a joke earlier about it being a 3-hour movie. There's a lot of those movies where those are movies to me, like it has to be something that is incredibly passionate. This movie exceeds that whole point, Once again, like I love movies that become part of you like this. It's so absolutely beautiful. So yes,
I think it's a beautiful film. I kind of hope it wins. I don't think it's gonna win.
I don't think it's going to win. Yeah.
I think Maestro's gonna win.
I think Maestro is going to take a lot. I think there's a lot of chance there for that to take a lot.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Maestro's going to win this category. Personally, I know everyone's like rah rah and happy about the women empowerment message in
Yeah.
Barbie. I personally have a little bit of a problem with Barbie just because of the original platform of Barbie. That's my problem.
For sure.
My
Well,
my problem with that is that I think that I know they've made a lot of improvements, but it started
yeah.
off as dull with these like unrealistic proportions,
Completely.
completely physically unattainable
Yep.
for women. I think they shown scientifically if a woman looked proportionally like a Barbie, she'd have to
Yeah.
have like an 11-inch waist or something. It's just like, well, you couldn't really live that way. They tried with corsets back in the day, and women were displacing their livers and other important
Yeah.
necessary organs, shortening their lives, removing ribs, and doing all kinds of horrible, horrible
Exactly.
things. And I think that it's nice to see, yes, Barbie evolved to we can do anything. She's a doctor, she's a vet, she's got a camper, she's got a great boyfriend. I feel that, you know, just I think some things weren't understood by maybe some of the performers that maybe they didn't quite get that Ken was planning in his own special way to dominate. That way that, male actors, as long as you can walk and chew gum at the same time.
Well, this, yeah, like the thing is that I found interesting about it is it is that was that supposed to be comedy relief that they were getting you know what I mean? And it's interesting. Like you made a good point there about how like it's almost out of sequence with timing with the uh, with current world. It's like if that came out like that in 1960, that may have had a different impact, I think. But because of the fact that it is like you just said, I mean, it the whole idea of Barbie sort of does promote like women to be like this perfect absolute you know, stick figure with and with who always smiles and never has it was always you know this perfection. And then he got Ken, who I gotta say right now, could they not have found anyone better to play Ken?
Well,
He's perfect. He is like it's like he was born, like Ryan Gosling is like he was born to play Ken. I don't know.
he was born to play Ken, but in some ways though, I feel that maybe he wasn't born to play Ken. He's done what a lot of men in Hollywood have had to do, is he's had to recreate himself.
Oh, you
um,
definitely,
from
absolutely,
basically the pencil neck guy who,
yeah,
decided to, pump iron and, you know,
exactly,
eat meat, the meat first diet or whatever,
yeah,
and bulk up. But, you know, that's okay. He got there, but I feel that his management team maybe outsmarted the world and got him the right song and the right look and the right shots and the right final word on how he would look in that film
mm.
to get to the point where in a film called Barbie, everyone's talking about Ken.
No, exactly,
And
yeah.
Barbie didn't even get a nomination. So
No, no,
I I I find that a little heartbreaking from a lady who's like actually really a Barbie to
yeah,
who I think like was perfectly cast in many ways, but in some ways I feel that a lot of Hollywood maneuvering has occurred around and within that film.
yeah,
And I personally don't like it. So,
yeah, yeah. Yeah,
what are you gonna do?
what's my favorite movie? I'm not gonna knock you know those who like it, uh, but yeah, that's not my kind of movie I would put on. But it's still though, you know.
And it's there, it is important where when and where you can to have messages of woman empowerment. I think that's
Yeah,
beautiful. It's overdue. I think any alien
absolutely.
coming to Earth could wonder why on earth are women treated like this, and how
Yeah,
is it that you're just a girl is a real
yeah,
thing. You know, speaking as a woman who, applied for a job many years ago to be a Zamboni driver at a country club, got
said
the
that to
job.
me.
And then, just before I left, and as the fellow's getting me, used to my schedule, telling me what my schedule is, and
Yeah.
to call in and to, get my keys and start my training.
Mm.
And then he says, well, of course, I can't pay you what the guy doing this before, he's a man.
That was his words. That was his actual words.
Yeah. And I've learned, I think some characters they haven't learned, and you'll see in movies where they say right to the guy's face, that's against the law, and I'm going to tell somebody, and then they
Mm.
never make it out of the room. It's
No,
like,
exactly. Well, exactly.
so I wasn't going to confront him there all by myself. So I
Yeah,
went home, and then afterwards, like I phoned him and I said, this is completely illegal to do what
yeah,
you've described.
exactly.
That I'm going to get a different rate of pay because I'm a woman, and that the other person doing the very same job as a man was making more. And then, of course, that's how the world was. And then, of course, he told me that not to bother to come in because now I was no longer hired because
Oh,
I'm a troublemaker. He doesn't
oh
want trouble at their
my
fine country club.
troublemaker. That's
Okay.
terrible. That's terrible.
So, so this little troublemaker did not
Yeah,
sue their pants off. Did
yeah, no,
not make it my last stand, but I'm
yeah,
saying that we do live in a world where women are still not or correctly acknowledged.
absolutely true. Yeah,
If they were trying to balance the scales a bit with the Barbie movie, that's a good thing.
yeah.
Was it my kind of a movie? No.
But I don't know if that's the way we want to do it, though. Is go use the, you know. But I can maybe there's better better ways to do it. But yeah, yeah,
Just,
for sure.
and that's my opinion, that's John's opinion.
Yeah,
So yeah,
yeah.
you're welcome to write us with your comments. Tell us how much you love the Barbie movie. And more importantly, about the snub.
Yeah.
So Margot Robbie has been snubbed by the Oscars for Barbie, and again, it's just like there's something about the entertainment industry that can more easily recognize what a guy does than what a woman does. Yes, they've got the categories equally lined up, but Margot Robbie's contribution to Barbie is substantial. Her performance is superb. And why she doesn't have a nomination and why Ryan Gosling has a nomination, I don't know. Other than you campaign for those nominations, and I think that his management machine is just maybe a little stronger, than the management machine behind
Yes, I
Ruby.
guess. Yeah.
I do not
I'm
understand.
a little surprised though. I'm definitely a little surprised, considering that they what their push for this movie was. You know what I
I,
mean?
I can't say that I really understand it. I can't understand the math behind it.
No.
I I really don't understand Leonardo DiCaprio being snubbed. The Oscars do
Yeah.
not love Leonardo DiCaprio, and it's too bad.
Hmm.
But Killers of the Flower Moon,
Yeah.
I think this was an opportunity for them to break new ground with Leonardo DiCaprio, and it didn't
Yeah.
happen. And
No.
I'm sure he's still shaking his head and questioning his life as a result. I don't know. I feel a little bad for the guy right now,
Yeah.
and like he needs me to feel bad for him. I don't
No.
know.
Yeah. No. He's yeah. There's that. She's fine. But
But
I see what you're saying though. I totally see what you're saying. Yes.
I mean, overall, like the big picture for Best Picture, do I have a favorite? I don't know. I'm pretty sure in the end, the Oscar is going to go to Maestro.
Maestro. Yeah. It
I'm
could be a
pretty
sweet.
sure. I would like to see it maybe go to the holdovers just because what a fun, delicious romp that movie is, and the
Exactly.
performances are. I feel that everyone's brought the best out in their characters,
Yeah.
their timing, their use of themselves physically. I just feel that as an actor, I find it a very warm and comfortable view. And I'd like to see it surprise everybody and win. I don't think it's going to. And, it's just like, we got 10 nominees. Like, why is it 10 to pick from? You're just thinning out the vote terribly. And
I know, right? Yeah.
I think they're making it, more and more impossible for some of the smaller pictures to really stand out when they're up against so many other strong films. And so that's why I think Maestro is going to take it.
Yes. Yes. You're
Yeah.
absolutely right.
And we're going to take another break. And before we do talk about our sponsors and supporters, we're going to hear a fabulous song from Jon Stewart. So we're going to get a chance to listen to I Want to Get You Alone by Jon
Oh,
Stewart
thank you.
on Cool Life Podcast.
I wanna get you alone with all of your misery. I wanna get you alone with all of your mystery. I wanna get you alone like we're always dancing. I wanna get you alone. I'm tired
Those lonely days of lockdowns and isolation are gone for good. Go to www.therealthingdating.com. That's www.therealthingdating.com. It's time to share. Share your time, share your life, share your love. www.therealthingdating.com. Join for free. Upgrade at any time, starting at just $5.99 a month. www.therealthingdating.com. Because it's time. This is Cool Life Podcast. Please remember to subscribe to Cool Life on your streaming service and on YouTube as Hellenique Today. That's HELENIQUE Today. Because that helps us to bring more cool stuff to your ears. You're listening to the Cool Life Podcast. We'll be right back. And we are back on Cool Life Podcast. I'm Eva John, and continuing our conversation with Jon Stewart and our pre-Oscar talk. And Jon, in our next little quick overview, we're just going to take a look also at the supporting actor nominations. Now, for Best Supporting Actor, this is the male category. Sterling K. Brown has been nominated for American Fiction, and Robert Downey Jr. has been nominated for Oppenheimer.
Mhm.
Just tell you now, I hope he wins.
Yeah.
Robert De Niro has been nominated for Killer of the Flower Moon.
Oh, yes.
I also hope he wins. I know how that's going to work out.
Oh, yeah.
And yes, I'll accept a tie.
Yeah.
Ryan Gosling nominated Best Supporting for Barbie, and Mark Ruffalo for Poor Things. Now, I know it seems like a little bit of a Avengers takeover
Yeah.
in this category. And your thoughts, has Avengers been a good training ground for Best Supporting Actor 2024?
Well, it's interesting, right? It's definitely, yeah, like look at the people in this list.
Right. The Hulk and Iron Man have been
Yeah,
nominated
like
for Oscars.
that's incredible. Like Daniel Brooks. Like holy smokes.
It's really something. And I mean, like these again are good, solid performances for the men as Best Actor or Best
Yeah.
Supporting Actor
Yeah.
in this category. I mean, I do want Robert Downey Jr. to win because I feel that as a performer, he's won an Oscar before, right? And he deserved it for Chaplin. And I think people
Absolutely.
forget like his career from a very young age. He has always brought good, strong, solid performances. And there was a small gap in his career. And everyone knows he had a very public problem with drug abuse.
He sure did. Yeah, that's true.
A very public recovery, and
Yeah.
had a lot of help from his friends. And I think that his comeback has been, I hate to say it, might sound a little cliche, but it's been inspiring to say, you can pick yourself up, dust yourself off,
Yes, you can.
start all over again, to quote the words of a fabulous song from the 50s.
Yeah.
And I'd say that, what I kind of haven't been saying about Oppenheimer until now is I actually have not watched the film from beginning to end, and I'm probably not going to. In my so-called younger years, there was a fascination with that whole genre and with the concept of what's going on with the bomb. And I find that to be a dismal subject, a really
It is dismal. I've always thought, I know that's the thing. Yeah. I've never liked
It's heartbreaking.
war movies and stuff like that. It's just, yeah.
And
Like,
even
that's when I turn my head, look outside the window, look at the I'll find the leprechauns out there somewhere.
right,
The spirits are
these
coming.
those are the movies, as a young person, where I would just remind myself that when this is all over, we'll still have, sunshine and birds and
Exactly.
beautiful architecture, and we can go out and
Exactly.
get hot dogs and orange soda and enjoy this
Yeah.
life, right? And
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
because it's like, how could this be an important part of being alive and thinking of different ways to kill people? And
I know. Exactly.
even
Yeah.
in their research, they injured themselves, they injured their researchers, they've, shortened the
Yeah.
lives of their research. It's just like, why are we doing this? Can we do something else with our knowledge?
Well, I'm sure that a large part of that had to do with money. I'm sure that was a huge part of it. I'm sure that's probably the whole, probably the crux of the whole thing, to be honest. But at the same time, like, you can't help to think, like, well, even back then, can't help to think, like, what do they think they were doing for the future? Is it, it just it's yeah, it just makes me nervous thinking of that kind of stuff, you know.
I mean, is it worth documenting that experience in a great film? I mean, that's what
Yeah.
Hollywood does, right?
That is what Hollywood does. Yeah, like try to they try to blanket you into understanding something, and it's like, okay, well, what's the purpose of you doing that then? It's like, yeah,
I don't know. I'd like to see Robert Downey Jr. excel and continue to excel in his career.
exactly,
And, I hope he wins because I like him as a performer. And
absolutely, yes,
and I just find the subject matter, personally, I struggle with it. You know, it's nice to know there's something lighthearted out there like
yeah,
Barbie, but even though that wasn't my kind of picture, and
yeah,
Ryan
yeah.
Gosling, as I said, he clearly campaigned well to get,
Oh, you're obviously guaranteed, yes.
and I kind of, I don't know, like he wouldn't have been my pick for the role. He
No,
wouldn't have been my pick for, he's not my pick for a win. He wouldn't have been my pick for the nomination.
yeah,
So it's just, who cares? I don't rule the world yet, so it's not up to me.
yeah, sweet.
So my final hope and wish for the category is Robert Downey Jr. So who's your final hope and wish for the category for best male supporting actor?
I'm gonna say for best male, and get another look at this again really quick.
Or yeah, just for supporting actor, yeah, in this case.
I think I love Robert Downey Jr. But the thing I love about Robert Downey Jr. is that his facial expressions alone makes him a great actor. He knows how to work his face really, really well. Like, he's a professional at that. Robert De Niro, absolutely love Robert De Niro. I would like to see Sterling K. Brown. Yeah, like, it would be nice to see that up there,
It
right?
would it would be nice to see Sterling K. Brown, and it
Yes, it
really
would
would
be
be.
nice to see that up there. It would be nice.
But like, we'll
You know,
see in the end. I think that I think Robert Downey Jr. is going to get it. It would be nice if he did, and I think he'll cry a little.
all
That's
right.
what I think
Yeah,
is going to happen.
yeah, yeah. Very possible.
Now, for Best Supporting Actress, we
Yes.
have Emily Blunt for
Yep.
Oppenheimer.
Yes.
We have Daniel Brooks for The Color Purple, the musical. And I will say, before I continue the list, musicals don't usually do that well at the Oscars. The Color
No.
Purple is such a landmark film.
Oh yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't know why they made it again right away.
Yeah.
I don't know, like maybe they felt it was an important message in these times.
Maybe. Yeah, that was, yeah, very, very possible.
The first time Color Purple came out, it was an interesting look at,
You-
the American experience for women of color and that impoverished life without opportunities. I found it
Yeah.
to be incredibly depressing.
Extremely depressing. But it was showing what, like, the truth.
It was the truth of the existence of many women, and
Yeah,
you
exactly.
know,
Yeah.
it wasn't an existence I could personally identify with. I was kind of horrified by almost all of it.
No, I know. No, exactly. Exactly.
But I also felt it was an important document. So back in the day, I mean, people bought tickets and then went to the theater. So I know I definitely bought like 3 or 4 tickets. I saw that film like 3 or 4 times
Wow.
when it came out. And I'm in some ways, like I said, I'm kind of glad that it was made again. Maybe people feel it's an answer to the
Yeah.
times, a reminder of the early struggles of people
Well,
of color
exactly.
in
Say
America. But
earlier. Exactly. Like we were talking about the Wizard of Oz and like that. We've come thus far, like since the Color Purple's release. How far have we come? Where are we? Right? You know what I mean?
I mean, there's some things that are there are some things that are better,
Some.
and there are some things that are shockingly worse. And
Yes. There's my point saying
yeah,
so. Yeah. Exactly.
lots of times it makes me really happy. I'm not American.
Yeah.
There was a time when I was making very specific moves to be able to stay and work in the United States. And the times that I was there and the kinds of work that I have done in States, I'll just take that as an interesting history. And I don't think I I don't think I ever really want to live or work in the United States. And I think for many people of color that it's a dangerous, life-threatening place to be.
Absolutely. Sure sounds like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know. So yeah, I've ended up dwelling on the color purple. It's supposed to be reading a list, but
Yeah.
but yeah, musicals don't tend to do great at the Oscars. We'll see how this does. They
Yeah.
just feel the film was snubbed because isn't this the like only performers nomination for the Oscars? So
Okay.
and America Ferrera has been nominated
Yes, America Ferrera.
for Best Supporting Actress for and Divine Joy Randolph for The
All right.
Holdovers. Now, I hope she wins. I don't know. Can they
Yeah.
have a three-way split? I don't know. Um, really, on the subject, really, truly, my number one pick is Jodie Foster. Completely non-political pick. I feel that
Yeah.
she's an amazing actor. And has she come a long way since Silence of the Lambs? Yes, I think
She
that
has.
she has
Yes.
continued to grow as a
Yeah.
person, to grow as a performer, as a
Mhm.
director, a writer, a mother, a wife,
Yeah.
everything. And
Yeah.
so I think she's brought all of that to the table
I
in
agree.
performance. And you know, yeah, when I was a younger woman and was a professional actor and constantly taking classes, one of my best teachers and mentors was the great Al Waxman.
Oh, Al Waxman. Yeah.
And I remember one of the tips he gave me after a scene study I'd done, and he said, you have to use everything, and that's everything that you are as a
Yeah.
person, as a performer. And I think in this case, Jodie Foster has definitely used everything, and she's brought it
I
all.
agree completely. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. I agree with you. Absolutely. In this category, I say Jodie Foster.
Wow.
Absolutely. Yeah. I say Jodie Foster. I think that, like I was saying before, this comparison to this movie Naiad, I compare it largely to the Terry Fox story there, where it's very similar in nature. The two, and also speaking the fact that they're both true stories, but also it's about the supporting role of someone who is incredibly made famous because of something they've achieved, and it's about the story of the person, of their bottom end, their support, their foundation behind them is so fragile but so strong at the same time. And Terry Fox had Doug Allward behind him in a van where they traveled across the countryside, and Annette Benning, had Jodie Foster, so like that. What an incredible role to play. But as also was mentioning is the right people to play these roles too, the right women to play these roles. They're both very, 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 very strong in their own right and who they are as actors. And Jodie Foster, like they said, since Silence of the Lambs, even, she has grown tremendously, and I'm sure has the respect of everyone in that room. I'm sure.
Absolutely. And to see, does it translate into votes,
Hmm.
into more votes than anyone else?
Yeah.
We shall see.
Yeah.
So we'll find out. Oscars are going to be presented on Sunday, March 10th, 2024. And we're going to come back after the
Good.
Oscars to talk about who won, who didn't win, how
Awesome.
close any of our picks were.
Yeah.
And to see. In the meantime, it's been a lot of fun to have our Oscar talk with you, John Stewart.
Yes, Eva John, you too.
Thank you. Until next time, I'm Eva John. Thank you so much for joining us at Cool Life Podcast. Bye.
And that was our show. Thank you for listening to the very end. Please remember to subscribe through your streaming service to get more access to our guest interviews. Also, please subscribe on YouTube to help support our podcast. Until next time, I'm Eva John for Cool Life Podcast. Thank you for turning me on.